Do y'all find that women in the church kind of are like old fashioned, like they're not really appealing when you y'all could be
That
real because this is what this show is about, real talk. Is that an issue that you guys notice among Church of God 7-Day females?
at least it was. I've been out the game for a little while, but I mean, from my experience, there wasn't the same appeal, because they wasn't able to do certain things. Like their sense of style was just like
Hmm.
a little bit like off-putting, and it's just like it's like compared to someone else who's like, okay, like she's up to date, like she knows like what time it is. So
Hi, everyone. Welcome back to my comfy couch. Today, I've got some fine gentlemen on the line from the podcast Hold Your Point. So I'm going to welcome, guys. Welcome.
Hey,
Thank
what's
you, thank
going on?
you.
What's
What's
going
up?
on?
Going on? Thanks for having us.
Appreciate
no,
you.
What's
thank
going on,
you.
comfy couch?
Do any of y'all watch the show? Tell me.
I've actually
I was
seen a
watching.
couple episodes.
Oh, you
Yeah,
have?
I watched.
Yeah,
Ah,
you're pretty good.
cool.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you guys so much for being here. So today the topic we're going to talk about is dating outside of your religious denomination, right? Many of our viewers and guests that we've had on the show, and even you guys, kind of grew up, as Christians or have like a Christian background, right? So, and you guys are millennials. I'll let y'all talk about, your show and everything, but we want to have a good perspective on nowadays, like, does it matter to people? Are people okay with dating outside of their denomination, or are there still challenges there? So I'm going to let you guys go around, tell me your name, your age, and then we'll go from there. So we want to start with Daryl. You go first for me, please.
Yes, yes, yes. Hello, hello, everyone out there. My name is Daryl James. I am 32 years old. I am a Seventh Day Church of God Christian, born and raised. But I also like to say, I'm piggybacking on what my brother Caesar say. I'm more so a child of God more than anything else.
Yes, sir.
So yeah, that's pretty much about me.
Okay. Welcome, Daryl. Next, Caesar, tell me.
Yes, how y'all doing? My name is Cesar Fortunato. I'm 34 years old. I'm a Virgo, and no, no, I'm just kidding.
And you're married. Don't leave that out there.
Married too.
Anyways, but no, I am I believe that I'm a child of God. I identify as Christian, Church of God Seventh Day, but primarily I'm a child of God, and I think we'll probably get into context with a little bit of the titles, but I'll leave it
All
there.
right. Okay. All right. Thank you, Caesar. I didn't ask you guys your status. Daryl, are you married or not? Now that you put it out there, Caesar.
Oh, my
Hey.
bad. I had a reflex. I was.
Michael, tell me. Oh, yeah, Daryl, tell me. Are you single? Are you married? What?
No, I'm off the market. I am happily
Don't
married
stutter.
off the market.
Okay, Michael, tell me about you.
What's going on, comfy couch? Couch real comfy. Thank you for having us, man. I'm 30 years old. I ain't gonna give the number behind it, but
Oh, Lord.
yeah. Nah, just like my brothers, is Church of God Seventh Day as well. Am I married? Nah, gas price is too high right now. Can't do that. So eventually,
What gas
Well,
have to do with it?
we
Lord.
got a lot of inflation. No, I'm just joking.
Oh,
Yeah, but otherwise from that, yeah, thanks for having us, man. Hope we have a good episode.
I know we will. We will.
Yeah.
Yes. Levi, tell me.
hey, what's going on, Comfy Couch? How y'all doing? How y'all doing? This is Levi Strauss from the Hold Your Point podcast. But it's a pleasure to be here. Me, I am at the ripe age of 29 years old.
And right.
That's right. Born and raised in Church of God Seventh Day, like most of the brothers here. Baptized at a very young age. So, but yeah, happy to be here, and let's get it. What's with the smiles? What's with the chuckles, fellas?
Man, say I'm right.
You good.
Tell me, David.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? My name is David Tyler Haynes. I also go by DTH for short. I am, what am I, 32 years old now. I am happily engaged recently. So I'm also off the market as well. Thank you. I am a member of the Church of God 7 Days, so I'm a Christian as well, and happy to be on the show with everybody.
Thank you guys so much. So yeah, I grew up, as you guys know, in Church of God 7th Day as well, and I'm 37. So, I forgot to do my whole intro. I'm trying to remember my intro, y'all. Listen, I'm a life coach, also a crisis counselor, and don't forget to like and subscribe, share the show, tell a friend. Okay, if y'all like what we're doing out here, support us that way. Okay. So all of us look like we grew up in the 7th Day world, right? So this would be a good discussion from a 7-day Adventist. I have 7-day. I'm sorry, not Adventist. A big difference. From the 7th Day point of view. Let me clarify that. To see what we think. So y'all tell me real quick about y'all podcast. What y'all doing? What's it all about? Where can they find you? How often do you post? Tell me. What's up?
Yeah. So I mean, well, just to kick it. Hold on, Michael. Hold your point, Michael. But no, just to. We talk about, Black culture and experience through a Christian millennial lens. And, so we pretty much cover a wide range of topics, pretty much everything that's in the news and, biblical topics. And we try to break it down to like a level where we're going to understand it, where we kind of keep it like, innovative, modern, hip hop a little bit, but we still have like an understanding of like, what the biblical precepts are. So the episodes we drop every Tuesday. Right now, we on a little bit of a hiatus, doing a little promo, getting ready for season 2.
Okay.
But it's good to be here. It's good to start networking with other people, in the podcast space. So definitely.
Yeah, I love it. Did anybody else want to jump in? Is that your whole thing? Before somebody talk, y'all say hold your point. If it's y'all trying to, is that what y'all do?
Yeah, well, it happens. It happens. There's 5 of us here. We all got a lot to say.
Yeah.
So it happens.
Yeah, I definitely don't recommend a 5-man crew. Don't do it. Don't do it out there.
You know what's in the conversation? I'm not even gonna go there because it's a Christian conversation. But listen, so they can find you. I know you guys are on YouTube. Are you on any other platform so they can find y'all out?
Absolutely. We're on YouTube, which we're definitely trying to build up right now. Also, you can find us on pretty much any platform you listen to your podcasts on, Apple, Spotify, Amazon, iHeart, Google.
Woo!
The list goes on and on.
We're everywhere, baby.
Wow. Yeah, we're everywhere you are, right?
Exactly.
I like that.
So again, I'm supporting. I love what y'all doing. I love to see, young men coming out, especially Christian men. I just love that. So y'all keep it up. God bless y'all. I hope your channel grows.
Amen. Thank you.
And let's get into the conversation. Okay, so so you guys might have been in the dating field for a while, right? Everyone seems they're in their 30s or almost 30. So what has been you guys' experience like? Have you guys tried dating outside of the Church of God 7 Day?
Come on now.
Yes.
This is the whole your point. This is I'm gonna need it.
I guess I'm gonna jump on in here. I'm gonna say yes, and I actually married outside the 7th Day Church of God race, right?
Okay.
And so I've experienced a little bit of everything. We'll just leave it there.
Oh, okay. So now just, let me know if I'm asking too much, okay?
It's fine.
Okay. Is she a Sunday keeper or like a Sunday worshiper, or is she a Sabbath keeper?
I will say neither. She just respects and know God, right?
Okay.
So she's a God believer.
Okay. Yeah. So how is it like? Does she attend service with you? Does she practice at all with you at all in any kind of way?
So we have our times where we pray and we'll read the Bible together. To be honest, I don't really attend church as much as I should, to be honest. So I'm a YouTube worshiper right now, but but no, that's essentially what we do. We just kind of get together with worship, just reading the Bible and praying.
Oh, Oh, see, that's interesting. And I love that. I love to hear the different perspectives. And I wanted to mention that too, because I thought it might have to do also with somebody, how quote unquote devout they are, you know, if you're somebody who goes every single Sabbath, or if you're someone who's, you know, more lax with that, but more quote unquote spiritual, you know what I mean? So I think that does matter too. So Daryl, do you feel like that whole thing about unequally yoked, right? Ooh, we grew up hearing that, like, you know.
Yeah.
Do you guys feel like y'all on the same level, or do you see like there's a difference between the two of you there?
No, I mean, in the beginning it was tough, right? In the beginning it was really tough because it was like, no, you know, this is the way that you're supposed to be. This is what you're supposed to be doing. Like, you're not supposed to do this. So, you know, we kind of had a clash, right? And then, you know, I had to just kind of sit with myself and just been like, hey, look, you can't. Okay, so I'm gonna. Is a bunch of different ways I want to go with this, but I can't force anybody to do anything that they don't want to do, and that's with anything, right? I remember I had a business, right, and I started this business, and I used to try to force her to help me, right, because it was a business where it was kind of like a service business, and then she literally sometimes, you know, she'll tell me yeah, yeah, and then there was one time when she tell me no, and I was just like, what do you mean no? And then I got upset, but then I had to sit with myself and was like, yo, this is your business, right? You know, she's helping you because she loves you, right? She doesn't have to do it, right? So then I had to realize, like, it's not my place to force anybody to do anything that they do not want to do. Like, I want you to have your own relationship with God, right? Because we all have to take account for ourselves, right? So, you know, we can love our mother, we can love our father, we can love our brothers on, you know, we can love each other, but we all have to have our own account. So once I started looking at it like that, then that's when, you know, everything start to click a little bit more there.
Oh, okay. Thank you so much, Daryl, for sharing your experience. So that's good to know.
No
Like,
problem.
the two of you kind of had to find something that worked for the two of you, right? So that's the thing, being willing to compromise and, you know, to kind of, you know, bend to make it work. Okay, good. Caesar, tell me, what's your experience?
I mean, I think it's just kind of inevitable. Like, just growing up, you know, in Church of God, like, it's always something that we've had kind of conversations about from time to time, where it's just like, you know, when we start looking around for real, as far as like, you know, what as women or girls or females that we're going to take serious, like, it was, the options were very slim as far as what was in the Church of God, or, you know, in our local
Yes,
church.
Lord.
And, you know, so a lot of, you know, what we had to do came from just looking outside of our immediate denomination and, you know, by the grace of God, engrafting people into the fold. But it's not, at least for where we was at, it's not, the ratios was not where it needed to be.
Yeah, and that's a good point, because to me it is a religion that is not, you know, popular or mainstream. So it's like you don't have like these mega churches or churches with hundreds and hundreds or thousands of people, you know, that you interact with. And a lot of times it's your family members or they're your cousins and stuff.
Right.
So by the time you eliminate all your family, it's like, well, man.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So that's a good point. I mean, and again, like, you know, being a millennial or whatever, you know, it's different now. It's not like back in the day where they would force you to marry someone in the church just because y'all were Christian and they didn't want y'all to have sex, you know, without being married and stuff. It's, people are thinking differently now. So it's interesting that you decided to look outside. So Caesar, was your experience similar to Daryl? Was there some kind of, you had to work things out, or was it smooth? Like, tell me.
So yes, my experience was kind of similar, but I have a slightly different take, and, you know, I hope I don't get crucified for it, but I just feel like, you know, there's a difference when you have an alpha personality, and I'm not saying DJ doesn't. I'm just saying in my example, like, with me, like, I knew, like, just being dominant, like, I can venture outside of my denomination, and then that being important to me, then I can convert whoever it is that I felt
Ooh.
like was, you know, important enough to bring over. But I think it doesn't always work the same way when it comes to like someone who's not dominant, because if you're not dominant, then it becomes harder for you to bring someone over to your side because you're more submissive in certain capacities.
Oh, and
So
that's a good point. And what about the male versus female dynamic too? Because to me, I noticed too, like women will more so want to submit to the guy. So a lot of the
Is
women, when
that
you see
true?
them,
Oh, about
Yeah,
that?
We doing that here?
I
Uh-oh.
was gonna let him live, but it depends on what woman you got.
Hey,
Yeah.
sorry, I'm just saying, to me, I've seen that it's easier perhaps, and y'all could tell me if I'm wrong, for a woman to kind of follow the dude. So if he's out the
Yeah.
church, she ain't really going that much, but the dude has more capacity to bring her in, it seems.
mhm.
I don't know about willingly, David. Well, damn.
hey, we'll talk about it.
But so Caesar, so is she actively, you know, involved in your church with you or attending service with you or what have you? Like she's now like a full-fledged kind of 7-day? Is that right?
Yeah, full-fledged 7-day praise and worship leader, you know, just the whole.
All
Yeah,
right
you know, by
now.
the grace of God. I mean, and it's not to say like it always happens that way, but you know, it's just, you know, thank God for when it does. So
Okay. So
yeah.
are you advising are y'all advising young men, Daryl and Caesar, to go look outside the church for y'all wife, or should they go to the conferences and
Uh,
Be
that's a
cautious. You got to be strong. Don't go out there weak because you're going to get ate up and you're not going to come back.
ooh, and we need y'all. We need y'all. Don't go
yeah.
nowhere.
I would say it's a case. I'll say it's a case by case study. Like you know, there's some women like you just can't pass up. You know what I'm saying? So regardless of what denomination she is, you know. So that's the way I look at it.
Oh
And
man.
Can't pass her up.
Michael, you up next. Tell me, what's been your experience?
So all right, so there's run it back. I kind of all right, so I'm 37, so that's pretty close to 40. I've been in the church my whole life, and honestly, growing up in the church, a lot of the church, well, every church sister, I look at not only as a church sister, but a sister. Because of the fact that we grew up together, and it's kind of difficult to kind of date your sister on that sense, you know
Now
what I'm
you're
saying?
talking.
And when you know pretty much every single thing about them, so it's trying to get I'm married in the church. I was married at one time, and to be honest, it didn't work out. And I also dated outside the church. But what I find is people are people. It has nothing to do with your denomination. It's your love for Christ. You know what I'm saying?
Woo!
And your passion for Christ. So therefore, at the end of the day, you could have this personality where you can convert them over, but it's also you two growing with the Lord. Because at the end of the day, you could always be in the church, but at the end of the day, the saying is it's either you're in the church or you're around the church. So at the end of the day, so what you're looking at is the person's heart and the person themselves, not their denomination. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, I love it, Michael. That's a great point. And you lead me to, because I did want to mention that, because I've seen that with the young people in the church, like, y'all grew up together. Why would the single guys date the single girls? Like, to me, it's perfect. Why won't y'all get together? So I was going to ask that. Is it because you guys see each other like, brothers and sisters? So it'd be kind of weird. So you did answer that for me. Do you guys feel the same? Like the
It
women?
depends.
Yeah, Mike.
It depends. Yeah, it depends. I mean, I would say, I get what he's saying. I think that kind of applies when it's maybe like in the same church, like the same physical church. I wouldn't say the denomination, because there's certainly been young ladies I've seen that other Church of God 7-day churches that I looked at and said, oh, she's a nice girl. I could see something with her. But if you're growing up together, like, diapers to older and stuff like that, I think that does have that kind of effect.
Okay. All right. See, that's good. I thought y'all brought that up. Levi, tell me, what's been your experience?
Yeah, no, definitely. I'm chopping here. So for one, I think I neglected to mention my relationship status in my intro.
You have to repeat that. You said you was right. They're good for fishing. That's all, man.
That's what we got from it. Okay, okay.
Yeah.
All right, it's fine. Yeah. Well, to make everybody
let
clear,
them know, Levi. Let
to
them
make
know.
everybody clear, I am single.
Oh,
Dating. I'm sorry, dating. You know what I'm saying? But
Well, hold up now, because we gotta define that these days.
oh God.
When you say dating, does that mean you're seeing someone or you are open to people?
Right.
It means I go on dates with people.
With one person more than others, or you see how you have to be these days?
You see, it depends. It depends. Right now, I wouldn't say there's one in particular. I'll just go through it that way.
All right.
But yeah, I'm going on dates. You know what I'm saying? I'm exploring what the Lord has presented before me.
Okay,
but,
gotcha.
I'll put it that way. But anyway, in terms of dating outside of our religion, I would say yes. Like most of the brothers here, probably have. I have dated outside the Church of God, before, and I would say the experience is definitely it's different, but as a lot of the brothers here mentioned, it's almost necessary because there is not a lot of or at least there doesn't seem to be a lot of and I say this lightly. I say this in a way because, as we mentioned before, the whole Christian versus serving God type of deal, there's not many, I guess, Church of God Christian women versus outside, you know what I'm saying? And to that point, I think it is a bit as what Caesar was saying, it does take kind of a dominant personality, to kind of stay strong in that sense. And when you ask the question about, would we advise young men to go outside, to date? That was actually a difficult question for me because I was like, I don't know if I advise them to go out there, but to Caesar's point, I would say it's like almost going in a battle. And if you're not armed with the armor of God, if you're not fully decked out in that stuff, you got the whole thing going on, then you're gonna get defeated in that battle. You're gonna lose. You're not gonna make it out of there alive. It's like going in a simple war without any gear, any armor, any weapons, anything like that. You're gonna lose against the enemy. And so that's just what it is. So I would say if you are gonna go out there, make sure you're armored up. Make sure you're armored up. And I say that only because there is a grafting thing that can happen, as Caesar mentioned. It's not, I wouldn't recommend it because it is not the way that, it's not the normal way that God intends it to go. You know what I'm saying? He wants us to be equally yoked. He wants us to try and find someone who can easily, replicate, what he has in mind for our marriage, but it's a tough situation for nowadays, especially brothers nowadays, because there is a level of spirituality, a level of religion. It's like you got to look at somebody and be like, can they actually be on that level when you're dating? It's a situation where I'll speak on it in past relationships I've had. There were situations where it didn't work out, not because we were not, maybe on the same level in terms of spirituality, religion. It was other factors. I didn't see it as an issue. Like I didn't see that would have, been an issue based on where she was and her level of respect for what I had going on with church and what I have going on with spirituality and all that. It wasn't seen as an issue. So I could fully understand DJ's, point where he says, like his relationship works in that sense. And to Mike's point, it's just a matter of growing, I'll stop there. So I haven't talked for a minute.
Thank you so much, Levi. So it seems like you're open to both, in the dating field now, but you don't want to straight out say, oh, fellas, let's just, go outside. It's so interesting because if you see from the female's perspective, to me, we feel like there's so many women in the church. So to hear like single guys saying there's not enough women, we're like, what? That's all the church is filled with is like single women. So my question, which I'm gonna ask next, I'm gonna let David go first, but I'm gonna get to some of the real questions I have about how y'all perceive us or them rather. David, tell me.
Yes.
You said you engaged. Who are you engaged to? Is she Church of God 7 Day? What?
Yes, She is. So she was born and raised in the church. She hails from Brooklyn, New York. But as she got older, she actually kind of gravitated away from it a bit. Most recently, where she was living, she was going to a Sunday church, and she really enjoyed it. And she actually really enjoys a lot of what they do. And so, coming to our church now, there's a bit of a transition for her. As like, again, she grew up in the church, she's familiar with the Sabbath, she understands it. But I think there's things that, we do in the Seventh-day Church that she is not super fond of. So it actually is something for us. We are continuing to work through. There's been some questions about stuff, and there's been Bible study, and that's going to continue to happen. But she is attending, my church down here now that she's down here in Florida with me. So I don't anticipate that changing, but she does have some ideas about other stuff that probably could change. So.
Man, so I'm glad that we have such like a good mix on the line so people can see from the different perspectives. That's wonderful. Okay, so to get down to the nitty gritty about how y'all feel about Church of God 7-Day Chicks, because again, I see so many single ones. On one of my episodes before, I spoke about how Church of God 7-Day, if you grew up in the strict Caribbean ones, it was like, man, you can't wear pants, can't, perm your hair, can't have makeup, can't have jewelry. So do y'all find that women in the church kind of are like old fashioned, like they're not really appealing when you y'all could be real, because this is what this show is about, real talk. Is that an issue that you guys notice among Church of God 7-Day females?
At least it was. I've been out the game for a little while, but I mean, from my experience, there wasn't the same appeal, because I mean, the females that you interact with, like whether you're at school or just at like work or something, like just is the different type of, and it's not to say like I know women, God-fearing women have a different level of virtue and should have a type of energy that attracts you, but it was just like a different, I can't put my finger on it. I don't know.
So it wasn't the looks. It wasn't the looks of the dress. You're saying their energy was different.
I feel maybe it was just like even just a sense of style, because a lot of times, like for what you were saying, like because they wasn't able to do certain things, like their sense of style was just like a little bit like off-putting, and it's just like it's like compared to someone else who's like, okay, like she's up to date, like she knows like what time it is. So.
See, that's the thing. It's like, oh man, but what about her heart and stuff? And I think men probably a lot of times, have an issue, telling women, hey, your dressing is this way, kind of critiquing them. But man, I mean, this girl does not know. And maybe if she's your sister, she's your cousin. Listen, I'm pleading with you guys in the church, okay? If you have a cousin, a sister, somebody you knew from childhood, and she's dressing old fashioned, please tell her something. Because, guys like you, all 5 of these guys out here,
well,
has dealt with women outside as well. And it's like, man.
Well, I just want to jump in. I mean,
go.
I understand what, Caesar's saying at the end of the day.
Yes.
All right, don't get it wrong. I love my culture. Like, my culture is rich. You know what I'm saying? The Caribbean culture is one of the things where I feel like I'm blessed. But at the same time, I don't want to date somebody that reminds me of my mother.
Ooh.
So, and it's not to disrespect anything like that. It's just that you don't, it's very difficult to draw away from that.
Man, and it's real. Go ahead, Levi.
I'll definitely chime in there. Like, and it's not even sometimes more of like a spiritual thing. It's definitely the cultural factor of it too that kind of like gets in there, because it's like you'll have some, Church of God sects, that some Church of God people who would believe that, like going to the movies is wrong, or watching Marvel characters is wrong, or something like that, and it's like sometimes that would leak into, some of the, women that would come out of a Caribbean church environment, and that kind of stuff, it's like you getting way too I don't know what the even word is, but you getting way too
sanctimonious.
Thank you. That's a great one. That's a great one. That's a great word. But yeah, no, that's exactly what it is. Like he's like, and it's like I can't find myself dating someone like that. We'll have way too many differences. We'll have way too many things where like you won't do this, like well, you won't come here, or you won't wear this, you won't say this, you won't laugh at this joke, or you won't like
and that, it's not even necessarily like, you know, they will say something. It's the energy that is portrayed off of, you know what I'm saying? So you could be you, but at the end of the day, is it really fitting at the end of the day between you two? And that's the problem lies.
So you're saying that there might be some mindset, some there as well might be the issue. So why are you trying to clean it up? Yeah, before y'all get to the mindset, y'all already don't want to talk to her because she's, I'm just kidding. But you're right though, yeah, for sure. What about you, David, Daryl, y'all want to talk about, you know, in terms of appeal of how they look, David?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I don't necessarily share the same sentiments with the other brothers because I think, yeah, there's some of them who may dress a little bit old school, but I mean, I think you can see when a girl is attractive or not, whether she's wearing old clothes or not. So honestly, for me, that's always been my goal, really, is to find a girl within Church of God Seventh Day. Not that I believe it has to be that way, but as far as when I was, you know, looking around, that was my first choice. That was my first option for a number of reasons. Just the ease of, you know, meshing our spirits together. So, yeah, I don't see anything wrong with the girls at Seventh Day today. I mean, some of them dress very nicely. It's just a matter of, I think it's just not enough though to dress nicely. I think,
of course,
if a man has, the thing is, a guy don't want to have to put up a whole, have to deal with a fight. You know what I'm saying? So like, if a guy sees you attractive, he's trying to take an interest in you, but you know, you playing hard to get and stuff. Playing hard to get is from the 90s or something. That's old.
Stop doing that, David. Okay,
stop doing that. Because I mean, if you want, ultimately, I think most women want a relationship. And if that's what you want, I don't know why you would chase that away or the potential of that away. Like if a guy takes an interest in you, he's a nice young man. I don't understand why you wouldn't give him a shot.
The weirdest part is when they do that to ones they actually like. I don't understand that. Like,
man, I was just talking to someone today that I'm gonna do an episode about that because he posted something on his IG and there couldn't be anything truer. The person on the IG was essentially saying, hey, you don't like me, so you're gonna sleep with me early on. And women, like, we do that. It's like, if we really like the guy, we want to do it properly. You want to take our time. We don't want to, you know, but if we don't like the guy, we'll just sleep with him because it's like, oh, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't count. Right.
It's the weirdest, like, we're so irrational in that sense. I'm not even going to lie, but I'm going to do a whole episode about that. But that was a side note.
I'm going to start with that. You know, some men, all right, as much as men don't say it, and to that point, some men actually like a chase. But to Levi's side, because it's like, if you give, and it doesn't have to be anything sexual, but if you give too much too quick, then it's like, a man is like, all right, well, that was easy. That's the easy button. But it's not even in the sense where, you know, there's respect lost or anything. It's just that it's got to equal out. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's got to be on that side.
You got to have that balance, right?
Yeah.
Fine balance.
Yeah, no, I was just about to chime in, but like, yeah, I think for the most part, men do want some type of chase. They don't want the easy part. But some of these women got to slow down a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Y'all out here, you're chasing, and y'all out here going, what's the girl from Jamaica? I forget her name. Shelly. Y'all going Shelly all over the place. It's like, man, listen.
Let's talk about the Caribbean culture in terms of attitude and stuff, because, you know, some people feel like, you know, maybe Jamaican women and other women from the Caribbean are kind of have a strong kind of aggressive nature.
Good questions, boy.
I'm sorry?
You got some good questions.
I'm telling you, that's what I like to do on the show, because it's stuff people not talking about, but they need to hear it.
Yeah, sure.
So Do you find that, like, you know, when trying to date Caribbean people, you know, depending on where they're from or how they were brought up, that, you know, they kind of aggressive and a little bit masculine, and you just feel like you can't lead them, you know? Do you?
Hold on, let me say
That's
this. Hold on, hold your point. Listen, I don't think that happens more than with Black American girls. But I do think it's happening to Caribbean girls more now today. I don't think it was that was the case so much before, but I think they are, especially if they live here in the States, there's a heavy influence from living in this country. Like, I think they are progressively becoming more and more independent and, you know, just in a state of mind where they feel they don't need a man, these kind of things. And so, I mean, it's happening in the Caribbean culture more, but I don't think it's more so than in the Black American culture.
Okay, so you think it's like a Black American and Caribbean thing. Okay, what about y'all? Do y'all feel like, you know, Caribbean women may come off a little strong sometimes?
I resonate with DTH a little bit on that one in terms of the Black American culture. I would say it's more of a Western thing, honestly. Like, you know, when you get into kind of the rise of feminism and all that, that's mostly a Western ideal. And, you know, but the Caribbean has definitely been influenced more and more. But I would say it's more of a Black American, European, that kind of Western culture ideal. You know,
I don't think it has to do with where you're located or period. Dating today is just difficult. You have to understand if you're in a sense where I have a house and she has a house, somebody's got to sacrifice. And most of the time, one woman's gonna say, "Oh, well, if I pay all my bills, what is he gonna bring to the table?" In a sense like that. So I don't think it's difficult. It's just that Caribbean women have a different type of strength than any other, you know, culture. But just dating difficult, you know what I'm saying? All whole is just it's very, very hard for someone to be in a sense where they're sacrificing for the next.
Oh, absolutely. It's definitely a challenge. And that's why we have like the podcast that I have, because we're trying to figure it out. It's a big challenge right now. Daryl and Caesar, let me hear from y'all. What y'all think about this?
I'm married.
I mean,
y'all married, so
yeah, so we did something right, fellas. Follow our lead.
But no, there you go.
But
did y'all marry Caribbean ladies? Tell me.
I mean, my wife isn't technically Caribbean. Like, her father's Antiguan, but she's born in Miami, so she's not really.
Daryl,
yeah,
you too?
I mean,
yeah, I married a Caribbean woman.
Okay. What were you gonna say, Caesar? Sorry.
No, you good. I mean, I was just gonna say, like, I think, like, as the guy said it, like, it's not really like more so with Caribbean women. I think it's balanced across the board because, like, you know, Black American women can be just as overbearing as, you know, some like Jamaican women I know. So I mean, it really just depends on like the person itself, but literally Black women as a whole can, you know, be a little extra sometimes.
Okay. Thank y'all so much for being like real. You know what I mean? I appreciate that. Like, these are the real kind of conversations we need to have. Thank you so much.